if you want to be a Marine, that's got to be inside you first. That's where it's got to start. You can talk about all the different benefits of being a Marine, the GI Bill, and the other different things that you can do, but that's got to be inside you first.
You have 60 seconds going out.
Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to read questions from the internet. And I have not seen these. You and I are going to read these for the first time together. So here it is. Questions from the internet about what it feels like to go back to boot camp for the first time in 32 years as a Marine myself. First-hand experience. Old Corps, new camera. How many times did you accidentally stand at parade rest this week? Accidentally. There were a couple of times where when the flag is raised and the colors sound, the feeling that I get in my heart has never changed. But as a civilian, I don't salute the flag because I feel like that's something that you do in uniform. But when we were at the graduation ceremony, we all veterans were asked to salute when they played the colors, and that felt really special to me. And then there were a couple other times where I wasn't sure if I should be at parade rest or not. I just don't really do that. That's not my jam. I feel like that's their jam. I'll let them do that. Instant kicking. Did you catch yourself saying, "Aye, sir," before you remembered you were the camera guy? Nah, I knew my place. It was all good. It was fun though. It was great going back as a Marine or as a civilian, because the drill instructors, they've got certain code of conduct. They can only do certain things with the civilians. They got to treat them a certain way. So I knew that, and I used that to my advantage. Let's see. Still got it, maybe. Be honest. Did you start walking faster the second you got back on base? Not walking faster, but definitely had my head on a swivel, because it's you're looking around and it's these things that you lived for 4 years, and then you forget about them, and then when you're back on base, you're like, oh, these little subtle differences that go on. So I did not find myself walking faster, but I did find myself paying attention, and primarily because I didn't want to break any rules. Let me see. Back in my day, how many times did you almost tell a recruit, y'all have it easy? I didn't have any real conversations with recruits. They're sequestered, and it's a sterile environment. And they really just don't want anything to do with me, because anything that they do have to do with me could be a problem for them, even if they just look my way. So no, none of that. Let's see. Knees from the 90s. Could present-day Carl survive 1994 boot camp? 100%. I've always said, even in 1994, that boot camp physically should be more difficult than it is. I was really pleased to see the implementation of the Crucible that came along after I graduated boot camp. I think that it should be one of those things that it wants to break you. That's the way it should be. I don't feel like it's that. They can't run around breaking people. So could I do it? 100% I could do it. I'm a little bit different in that I have really stayed in shape and taken care of myself in the time since the Marine Corps. I've run the Western States 100-mile endurance run a couple of times, climbed a few mountains, some other things. I still stay active and healthy to this day. So could I go back to boot camp? 100%. Would I go back to boot camp? Yeah, I'd do it. Let's see. Camera guy problems. What's heavier, your camera bag or your sea bag was? Sea bag. I was going through the airport leaving San Diego, and I saw some of the new Marines, and they were trying to leave with their sea bag, and they had a few other bags too, and it was a slog. I don't miss that at all. And the sea bag, packed. Just stuff falling out. Probably weighs 400 pounds. Let's see. Still hearing voices. Did one drill instructor yell and suddenly it was 1994 again? Not like that, but all of the drill instructors were the best of the best. So the Marines make up less than 1% of the U.S. population, and the Marine Corps drill instructors are the best that the Marines have to offer. So anytime you see a drill instructor, it gets your attention like that. And to me, I think it's a beautiful thing to listen to them sing cadence, to listen to them command that platoon, to listen to them lead. It's a beautiful thing. So it really it's like artwork to me. Yep. Semper Fi. How many old Marine habits came back without you even realizing it? You know what I did realize? I realized how many things I do in my life that mimic the Marine Corps experience, and not by not because I'm trying to, but because it just happens. I lead my life in a very I put a lot of value in logic and things that work and function, and that's a big part of the Marine Corps as well. We as Marines, the mantra is to improvise, adapt, and overcome, and to do more with less, really. So not that I want to do more with less, but I do want to always get to the point. I want to get through the noise to the signal and get to the point. So that whole approach leads to kind of my cadence in life and how I approach other people and how I approach problems and how I approach conversations. And you don't really, I didn't really realize it before, but going back to boot camp reminded me of how much of the isms, the Marine Corps isms that I still carry with me today. So now let's see another question here from the internet. Yellow footprints. What did it feel like seeing the yellow footprints again after 32 years? It was pretty special. It's hard to put it into words. It's amazing to see the tradition of it all. It's all still the same. It's all still there. And then it's amazing to see the beginning of the process start. The yellow footprints are symbolic for every Marine. Any Marine across the world will tell you about that, their experience with the yellow footprints. And mine, I've seen them twice now. That smell, though, was there one smell that instantly took you back? That's a really good question, because there's more than one smell that I think was memorable. One was the chow hall. That doesn't change. The chow hall has done a really good job of changing their mission or improving their mission and making it a mission to fuel athletes and to educate all these Marines about what they put in their bodies. That was clear to see that was a very big push for them, and it worked really well. You can tell how it all filled in. But at the same time, too, after 32 years, I got to tell you, chow hall food still tastes kind of like chow hall food. I'm just saying. It was great. Don't get me wrong. But that was a memory for me. Another smell that brought back memories, gunpowder, will always bring back memories of the rifle range for me. At that time in my life, it was that is something that will always bring me back to Edson Range at Camp Pendleton. Let's see, muscle memory. What's something that your body remembered before your brain did? That's weird. That's weird that this question came up, because my MOS was Aircraft Rescue and Firefighting 7051. So I drove a four-person crew on a fire truck on Marine Corps airfields. And in each of those seats, each Marine has their role. On the right hand seat, which is where they put me in the fire truck when they did a demonstration. They sprayed the water and they made a rainbow, and it was really cute. I had a great time doing that, and they put me in the right seat. And so when the truck came around to a stop, and we all were, it was time to jump out, I opened up the door, and my brain already knew that distance from the deck of that cab to the actual ground was longer than what you think it is. And I remembered that just instinctively, because if you don't think about that, then you misjudge that jump, and it doesn't go well. I opened up the door and jumped out, and I kept on running like nothing had gone wrong. I thought about it afterwards. I'm like, holy smokes, that was something that I used to do all the time. So that's one thing that came back to me without even realizing it. And there's a lot of other little things. You wouldn't believe the number of small things that stay the exact same in the Marine Corps. It's pretty interesting. This question is from Echoes of Boot. Did hearing cadence hit different this time? And the answer is absolutely yes. When you're in boot camp and you are marching and you're listening to cadence, your brain is working. You're trying to make sure that you're doing everything right and not doing anything wrong. Me there as an observer, I got to really look at it from 30,000 feet, and it's a beautiful thing. Some of these drill instructors are really, really talented singers, and you hear it come out when they sing their cadence, and then they're also obviously talented at drill. You can watch these Marines march, and it's just something. It's a thing of beauty, for sure. So this question is from Marine Forever. When did you stop feeling like a visitor and start feeling like a Marine again? Well, I've always felt like a Marine. That's just the way it is. You earn that title of Marine, and that's something that doesn't go away. The base is secure. So if today I wanted to go get on base, I couldn't just drive up there and drive on base and go look around and be a sightseer. To get past that and be able to be on base and sightsee while we're doing other things, that was really good for me. But I will always be a Marine. That feeling never goes away. This next question is from Just Visiting. Couldn't you just tell them you already graduated? Well, we were part of the workshop. I was the only Marine veteran in a group of 50 other educators and counselors and teachers. The only Marine veteran. So that was very cool. And it goes along with the whole idea of how interesting it was to be able to come back after 32 years. Next question. Media Pass VIP. Did the cameras get you out of push-ups? No. Nope. I voluntarily took all that stuff, everything they had, all of it. I wanted to make sure that I got my piece of it as well. I want to feel like I came here and did that. And I really do feel like, so when I was in the Marine Corps, we only had the PFT, the physical fitness test. Since then, they now have incorporated the CFT, the combat fitness test, and I'm a fan. I mean, I think that it's a real gauge of where you are overall physically. Can you accomplish these goals? That's really what the question is. The question isn't, can you answer the questions? It's like when you take a test and you know how to take tests, you do well because you're a good test taker. That's not it. You can't be a good test taker and get a good combat fitness test score. So I'm a big fan. It involves lots of lifting. It involves running and some obstacles and some fireman's carry. It really is, and it's all done in boots and utes. And so it's a really good test of your ability to accomplish a goal. Speaking of which, boots and utes during swim week, which is arguably one of the most challenging parts of boot camp outside of the Crucible. During swim week, they are taught to swim and survive wearing their boots and their uniform. And it is not an easy thing, I can tell you from experience. So to watch it happen from the outside, there's a little bit of humor in there for me because these guys are struggling. And then suddenly here comes this guy with cameras from the outside. And again, they want nothing to do with me. They can look at me and just get smoked just for looking at me. What are you looking at? So it's there's a little bit of humor in there with that. Okay, question is, bring my phone. Were you allowed to tell the drill instructors you were there for YouTube? Yes, they knew I was there to create content, but really my overall goal there is two-pronged. One is to tell the story of what it was like to be a Marine going back to boot camp after 32 years, and two, to document what it was like to go through this educators workshop where the Marine Corps brings all these educators in and gives them a firsthand look of what it's like to make Marines, and they give them a little taste of what it feels like to go through boot camp. They go, they rappel down the rappel tower. They go to the rifle range and shoot from 100 yards. They accomplish tasks together as a team inside the 12 boxes, where each of these boxes contains a different puzzle that has to be solved. They do all these things to get a taste of what boot camp is like. So those are my two goals. One was to tell the story of my personal experience 32 years later, and the second to document what it's like for these educators to go through the Marine Corps educator workshop. This next question is from Content Creator Life. Did anybody ask you to like and subscribe? No, but I got a lot of folks that wanted to, that were very curious about what I was doing. And I don't think I know that they did not know that there was going to be a guy showing up with a bunch of cameras documenting this experience with them. So I got a lot of questions and I got a lot of folks that subscribed from that. This next question, Press Credentials asks, can media get smoked too? 100%. Anybody can get smoked in boot camp. You go to boot camp, just get ready to get smoked. That's what it's about. That's what's going to happen. You're going to find your limits, and you're going to find the outside limit of your comfort zone at boot camp. 100%. Doesn't matter who you are. What surprised you most about coming back? Surprises. I don't know that there were a lot of surprises. I think I was as ready as I could be for that experience. There were a lot of memories that came back to me. I don't know that there were a lot of surprises that hit me. Oh, you know what I can say? I'd not a surprise, but I had forgotten how much time Marines spend with logistics. I mean, just getting 2 busloads of people from point A to point B took, a significant portion of the day. And so there's that part. And then also there's lots of classroom activity that goes on too. So it's not just going out there and jumping off the rappel tower and shooting guns. So there's a lot more to it. So that I was reminded of that. It was easy to let that go. You remember the sexy parts, and then the rest of it kind of floats off. Let's see. This question is from Different Eyes. What did 22-year-old Carl completely miss that 54-year-old Carl couldn't stop noticing? Those dates aren't accurate, but they're close enough. Those birth dates aren't really accurate, but they're close enough. And again, one of the things that I caught on to all these little isms, all these little things you could hear outside of what was actually happening with the group. The group would be doing something, but then in the background, boot camp is still going on. And they'll be marching, they'll be singing a cadence, or they'll be getting smoked, or they'll be out there working out, and all those things are happening. And that is just like really I can't even let it go. And everybody else is like, wow, what about this? And this is going on here. I'm like, yeah, this is going on here, but what about this? Okay, so now let's see. Next question is from Full Circle Moment. When did you realize this trip wasn't really about making video? From when I first started planning it, I had planned to go on this trip for quite some time. I made a video about Frank Wright. Frank Wright is a Marine. He was 19 years old at Iwo Jima during World War II. Frank Wright took machine gun fire to the chest. Frank Wright today is 100 years old. And he has 2 Purple Hearts. I went and talked to Frank. I introduced myself, and I asked him to make a video with us. And me and my Marine Corps veteran friends we all recited the first verse of the Marines hymn, including Frank Wright, and then when in the edit, I put that all together. We all got a different piece, and then Frank Wright got the very last closing piece. In the process of making that video, I had some interaction with the Marine Corps recruiters. That's really where this whole thing started. And so I knew that when we talked about even the possibility of going back to boot camp, I already knew that was more than just a video. It was really about the whole experience. It's really about taking what I had done early in my life, and then just looking at it again with fresh eyes, with all this life experience and hopefully maturity, and to compare those two things. And it was a beautiful thing. It was another life moment for me. Not too many people get to go to Marine Corps boot camp. Again, Marines make up less than 1% of the U.S. population, and I don't know anybody else that's ever voluntarily gone back twice. So I knew it was about more than the video right from the beginning. That's the answer to that question. All right, so this next question is from Perspective Shift. Did returning answer any questions you carried with you for 32 years? I don't carry with me. I don't do that. That's not how I get down. I don't have any regrets. I try to do, today is today, and we get one shot at today. Let's do the best we can here with that, and then we'll worry about everything else after that. That's the way I see things. I don't carry things with me like that. That's the answer to that question. Next question. Still changing. Can boot camp keep teaching you decades after graduation? Absolutely, 100%. I came back from that experience after having spent a week immersed in boot camp, and I came back re-centered. I came back re-energized. You cannot go feel boot camp and not feel it inside. I mean, it really is one of those experiences where you're like, okay, if I thought that I have my challenges by myself in my own little world, I don't. The reality is you can step up, you can strap up and go and do it. And being in boot camp, it just reminds you of that. It's not the challenge that's important, it's how you address the challenge. So things like that, you absolutely pick that up again, and boot camp absolutely brings that back to you. Let's see, next question. Quiet reflection. Did you spend more time filming or remembering? I get in this mode when I work. Not much else matters. And so that's really my priority. I want to make sure that I get what I need. I want to make sure, number one, everybody's safe. Number two, I get what I need, and so that really does consume my focus when I'm working. So I don't. Of course, I'm remembering things, but I really feel like that whole thing. I even told everybody that when we were there that it was just too fresh while I was doing it, and I was too consumed with the process of actually doing it to really kind of let it sink in. And I knew that it would take the next week and like a few days for everything to kind of like shuffle and settle. And so that's when all the remembering happens, and that's when I go through all the video, and I get to relive it. I get to relive it again through all the editing process. This question is from Teacher Perspective. Watching teachers experience boot camp for the first time, did you see yourself in them? Well, I think that all Marines are educators. I think all Marines are teachers. They're teaching other Marines every day, and they're helping other people all the time too. And teachers are helpers as well. So there's a huge correlation between those two groups of people, 100%. This question is from Role Reversal. Was it strange seeing civilians react to things that once felt completely normal? Yeah, yeah. Like get on the bus, sit down, and count off. And everybody's like, what, huh? What? I'm like, sit down, count off. It was neat to see all the teachers kind of get a taste of the not just the military experience, but the boot camp experience, which is, it's a military experience, turned up to 10. Let's see. And now, next question is from Bridge Builder. Why do you think it's important for educators to experience this before advising their students? And that question is easy. The answer is because it's first-person experience and it's the actual truth. It's from the horse's mouth. Anytime you want to try to talk to somebody about something else, it's always important, I think, to get the information straight from the source. And that's what this is. Not only is this all the correct and accurate information, but it is also a real boot camp experience. They get a taste of what it's like to go through boot camp, and then they can come. And so now they can answer questions accurately. So if someone comes to me and they have questions about the Marine Corps, I can tell them from experience what that's like, and if that's for them, great. If that's not, so be it. Because I feel like if you want to be a Marine, that's got to be inside you first. That's where it's got to start. You can talk about all the different benefits of being a Marine, the GI Bill, and the other different things that you can do, but that shit's got to be inside you first. Next question. One conversation. How many future Marines might be influenced because one teacher attended this workshop? It's hard to quantify that. I don't know that anybody can really quantify that, but I can tell you again, kind of hearkening back to that last question and answer, these people are not going to go out to the world with the real information. And if somebody who's out there who feels like this is really something for them, then they've got a place to start. That's what's important about this. Lens and legacy. Did carrying a camera change the way you experience boot camp? Nah, my gear, it's hard because we had to be mobile every day. And so everything had to be with me. If I wanted to interview somebody that day, even if it was only a very small sliver of the day, I still had to carry 15 pounds more of gear. And so it just was kind of cumbersome, with all the stuff that I had to carry. But that part was very much reminiscent of boot camp itself. And this next question is from Story Hunter. What story were you hoping to tell before you arrived? And what story did you actually find? Well, I found what it feels like to be at boot camp. I found that immersive experience. It's not anything that I didn't expect to see. Having been there before, again, not a lot. Some of the things will never change. So I knew what I was getting into, and what did I come away with? Well, the one thing that I came away with that I wasn't honestly expecting is this other video that I'm going to make about the actual workshop itself and all the individual teachers. What up, guys? So I didn't expect to have what I needed, or I didn't even think that would be something that I was going to be wanting to do. But now that I'm back home with that information, I've got some real good stuff. I've got a banger. I got a banger video for all those teachers from that workshop. So that I did not expect, and I'm glad. I'm happy. It's going to be really cool. Missed shot. What's one moment you couldn't capture because you were too busy experiencing it? Let's see. Oh, well, I had to capture it, but I also experienced it, and that was when the Marines sang the Marines hymn. I even if I just got the audio from that, that's really what I needed. So I just stuck the camera out and kind of shot from the hip and soaked it all in too at the same time. Let's see. This next question is from Invisible Moments. What's something the camera could never fully explain? Probably the pain. You know, it's physically challenging, and the sleep deprivation. You know, when you actually go through boot camp, you can't really, photos and videos can't put that into, what it really feels like to put your body through that. And I honestly feel like things like that you might think are really, it's a really physically demanding experience, and it is, but it's more mentally demanding than anything else. And I would say that about boot camp. I would say that about running 100 miles through the mountains. I would say that about anything really, is that it's more challenging mentally than it's going to be physically. And that is 100% what boot camp is like. 32 years later, did you still feel like you belong? 100%. Always will. Always will. Always will. Hey, Devil Dog, what's going on, Devil Dog? Hi, sir. Woo-rah! Semper Fi, dog. Always. Love it. Just giving me goosebumps. I'm going to be that guy who won't be able to shut up. Maybe I am that guy who won't be able to shut up, but when I'm old, you're not going to be able to shut me up. Always earned. When did you realize a title never really leaves you? When you earn it, when you earn that Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, got that for the rest of your life. That's what's up. How much of who you are today was built during those 13 weeks? I don't know how much of it was built. I know that there was quite a bit of it that was honed. I think that's what Marine Corps boot camp and the Marine Corps in general is all about. If you start from that place where it's in you, then that's in you. Once you graduate boot camp, you've really just organized and honed and sharpened everything. You are that Marine. You're a Marine, but before that, you've got to have it in you, 100%. Next question. Let's see. Memory versus reality. Did boot camp change, or did you? Boot camp's very similar to what it was before. They make Marines. No two ways about it. That's just the way it is. They make Marines. There's a few changes here and there. It's a very well run organization. I couldn't say more great things. And it's very similar to my experience back in the 90s. Next question. If you could walk back onto those yellow footprints beside your 22-year-old self, what would you tell him? Head and eyes straight forward. Just do the work. The only way to solve a problem is to go straight through it. That's what I would tell him. And this is from Time Capsule. What's something you finally understand now that you couldn't possibly have understood back then? Patience. Yep. Patience has always been something I worked on. Still work on it today, but I'm better at it today than I was when I was in my 20s, that's for sure. Different Mission asks, the first time you came to boot camp, you were becoming a Marine. This time you came to tell other people's stories. Which mission felt heavier? Being a Marine is something that is it's an incredible responsibility. Full stop. It's an incredible responsibility. I take that very seriously. That's how I feel about that. This next question is from Still Serving. You left boot camp in 1994 carrying an Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. 32 years later, you came back carrying cameras. Which one weighs more? The Eagle, Globe, and Anchor, because it weighs on my heart. Let's see. Next question. Full circle. Some people spend their lives trying to forget where they came from. You spent yours finding your way back. Why? Because it's important. That's why. Because it's a big deal. Because it's a valuable thing. That's why. I feel like it's something that if you spend decades of your life following a certain principle, to go back to where you learned those principles is a big deal. That's why. This next question is from One Last Question. If a young Marine watches your documentary 32 years from now, what do you hope they understand about what they earned? That it is yours for life. It stays with you for life. Like I've said before, someday you will end your active service and you will be like me 32 years later, looking back at some young Marine who just earned their Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. Let them know how proud it feels to be a Marine. Let them know that you will carry that for the rest of your life. And with that is all the questions I have. My name is Carl Costas. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I really do appreciate all of your time, and I'm very thankful for that. So until the next adventure, do me a favor. be good to each other, and be well.